So today I'm going to be talking about one of the biggest mistakes people make in a crypto bull market, which ends up costing them a lot of profits. And it's not selling too late, as that's what Ash covered in Wednesday's video. It's something very different, but almost as important. So let's get into it. So first of all, quick bit of housekeeping, a quick disclaimer to say that, of course, neither myself nor Learning Crypto are financial advisors, and that nothing in this video should be constituted as financial advice. But with that out of the way, what is the big mistake that people make during a crypto bull market? It is holding the wrong assets at the wrong times. Now, in this video, I'm not going to be giving you a list of individual coins, tokens, assets that I think you should be holding, apart from at the end where I will reveal the number one asset that I think everyone should be holding. But what I am going to be doing is going through how you can identify what things you should be holding and holding them at the right times. Now, at Learning Crypto, both in the Discord and in our live streams, we talk often about altcoins, altcoin dominance, Bitcoin dominance, when to be heavy in altcoins, when to be heavy in Bitcoin, etc. So in this video, I'm going to give you a very quick explanation of and visual representation of how to identify when to be heavy in Bitcoin, heavy in altcoins, and the reasons why it is so important. So it's been a pretty tough cycle so far for people that have been heavy in altcoins. If you just take a look at the .USDT chart, for example, you'd be forgiven for saying that we haven't even started the bull market yet, and you could probably argue still in a bear market. But of course, when we take a look at the Bitcoin chart, you can clearly see that we have been in a bull market for quite some time now. So as I say, it is very important to know when to be heavy in altcoins, when to be heavy in Bitcoin. As you can see, something like DOT just hasn't really performed. Now, we had a bit of a mini alt season, you could probably say, last October to about February, March time of this year. But again, I think a lot of people were fooled into thinking they were making money when in reality, they probably weren't making as much as they thought. Now, if we just take a quick look at the performance of Polkadot from the absolute bottoms of October 2023 to that Pico top of March of this year, it did a pretty good 225%, which isn't too bad. However, the point I'm going to be making today is that it's about choosing the right altcoins at the right time, because as we've seen through that period of October to around March, April, there are some things that performed a lot better than others with altcoins. So we've just seen Polkadot did 225%, whereas if you take something like Near Protocol, go from the bottom of October to the top of March, April, it did 820%, which is almost 4 times better than Polkadot. So it's about choosing the right things at the right times. Again, if we take a look at something like XRP, has been absolutely sideways for the last 2 years. So if you held that versus someone that held Fetch AI, which person is going to be happier? I mean, if we take a look at Fetch AI, again, from the bottom of October to the top of March, 1,788%, which is incredible. So the two things that Fetch AI and Near have in common is that they are AI coins. And then if we take a look at things like Dog Whip Hat, which, you know, from the October, I mean, it wasn't even out in October, but if we go from February of this year to March, 1,400%. And then Pepe, again, another meme coin, from February up until, I mean, the highs up here in June, almost 2,000%, which is insane. So you can see the two important narratives there. There was the AI coins did well and the meme coins did well. Now, this isn't exactly what a lot of people got into crypto for. Obviously, we want things that are going to have real world use case and, you know, genuine, serious assets to invest in. However, unfortunately, this cycle doesn't seem to be going that way. It was a bit more like that in 2017 and 2020, although in 2017 there was a lot of empty promises, lots of really good white papers and ICOs which just didn't come to fruition. In 2020 we had those rolling narratives. We had the layer 2 cycle, then we had the meme cycle, then we had the DeFi cycle, etc. And coming into this cycle here, what we've seen, as I say, is AI coins and meme coins have done very well. So the point I want to make here is the best thing to do at the moment is to take a look back at what performed well during that October and March period and try to pick out the strong gainers and weed out the weak performers in your own portfolio. So I did a video recently about tax in the UK. Obviously, we've got the budget coming up in 2 weeks. So now would probably be a good time to lock in any gains you've got at the lower tax rate if it does go up as it's rumored to. And also a really good chance to just take a look at your portfolio, sit down and go, right, what's performed well, what hasn't, build on your gainers and cut your losers. And as I say, take a look back at what's performed well in the past. Now, if we go and take a look at altcoins versus BTC, this is a very important point that I want to make. So if we take a look at ADA BTC as an example, now they don't all look like this. This is a pretty horrendous example, but as you can see, ADA has performed horrendously against Bitcoin. So if you are holding ADA, you have lost a lot of Bitcoin value. So the point I want to make here, you can see that we had these 2 green monthly candles here on ADA BTC in November and December 2023. So those were the only 2 months in however long that you would have been better off holding ADA than you would have Bitcoin. Now, if we take a look at the ADA USDT chart, so what I mentioned earlier about people being fooled into thinking they were making more money than they actually were, if we take a look at the performance of ADA in February and March of this year, now if we go from the bottom of February to the top of March, that is a 70% gain. So if you were sat in ADA, you'd be thinking, I'm doing quite well here. I've made 70% in the last 2 months. Even if you'd have bought then and not at the lows during October and November, you'd be like 70% up. That's pretty good. But if we take a look at the performance of Bitcoin during February and March, or ADA versus Bitcoin during February and March, you can see January, February, March, red months on the ADA Bitcoin chart, which means even though you made 70% on ADA, you'd have actually been better being in Bitcoin as opposed to ADA. So yes, you might have made some USD gains or pound gains or whatever fiat currency you're working with. You might have made some gains on that in ADA, but you would have actually made more in Bitcoin. So that's a very important thing to note. Now, there's a couple of charts you want to keep an eye on when it comes to knowing whether to be heavy in altcoins or heavy in Bitcoin. The Bitcoin dominance chart is the first one. So obviously, if there's strength in the Bitcoin dominance chart, that means Bitcoin is doing better than altcoins. And when it's doing badly, that's when altcoins are doing better than Bitcoin. So we'll remember back in January 2021 all the way down to May, that's when we had that DeFi summer and altcoins were going absolutely crazy and they were outperforming Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin dominance is high, that's when you want to start looking at going more towards heavy being in altcoins as opposed to Bitcoin. And then when Bitcoin dominance is low, like down here at the end of 2022, that's when you want to be heavier in Bitcoin and lower in altcoins, because as we know, over the past year and a half, Bitcoin has outperformed many altcoins. The other chart you can use in confluence with this as well is the ETH BTC chart, which as you can see shows the complete opposite trajectory that has been melting ever since, these highs around September 2022. ETH versus Bitcoin has been completely, on its arse basically. We're just about clinging onto this support level here at 0.04. So again, if you see Bitcoin dominance rising, ETH BTC dropping, that's when you want to be heavier in Bitcoin and less so in altcoins. Then the opposite, when Bitcoin dominance is trending down and ETH BTC is trending up, that's when you want to be in altcoins, because altcoins are performing better than Bitcoin. Another thing you want to be doing as well, take a look back at what's actually performed well against Bitcoin over the past few months. NEAR, as we highlighted earlier, did pretty well against Bitcoin and is holding its ground fairly well, although not doing that great. Whereas something like Solana obviously did tremendously well against Bitcoin from September all the way up to January, and even now is holding its ground. So let's take a look at some other indicators that are going to help you figure out what to hold and when. So starting off with what I think is probably your best tool to be successful in investing and trading is community and education. Unfortunately, at Learning Crypto, we provide both of those, as we're an online community-based education company that's been in the crypto market since 2018. So we've got Discord full of people that you can bounce ideas off of, share strategies with, or even for help and support as well. Even simple things like, how do I hook my ledger up to MetaMask, or all those sort of things as well. So go check out our website, learningcrypto.co.uk. We've got a free Discord you can jump in to ask questions, get to know people, etc. Then if you want access to premium or traders lounge, only £10 a month for premium, £20 a month if you want to learn how to trade, 50% off your first 3 months if you use the code intro, we have live streams where we talk about stuff in real time. We have trading live streams as well to go over any trading strategies. We have daily trades in our Discord that you can follow as well. So really great service, really great community. Come check us out, and we look forward to seeing you in there. So another handy tool to use in confluence with what we talked about before with ETH BTC and the Bitcoin dominance chart is this altcoin index or altcoin season index from blockchaincenter.net. And as you can see, it has this little graph to sort of show when it's Bitcoin season and when it's altcoin season. Now you want to take this with a bit of a pinch of salt though. As you can see, if we take a look back in the past, it said it was altcoin season from around January and then in March. And as we know, not only would you have been a bit late to that if you would have waited for this to get into altcoin season on this index, but of course if you actually started buying alts in March, April time, you'd be down a lot. So what you probably want to do is wait to see it start trending up towards maybe that 50% mark. That's when you know altcoins are starting to gain traction against Bitcoin. The other thing you can use is this at the bottom down here, top 50 performance over the last 90 days. So this is pretty interesting. You can see so over the last 90 days, there are very, very few altcoins that have performed better than Bitcoin. You see Bitcoin's here, 1.7% return over the last 90 days. Obviously, we know it's been very choppy, but over those past 90 days, you can see only a handful of things have done better. You've got Sui, Tau, WBT, Aave, Phantom, APT, Tron, Leo, SEI, SHIB, and Rune. And everything else has done far worse. And you can see a lot of things have actually lost a lot of value against Bitcoin as well. So as I say, it's all about knowing what to hold and when, because if you're holding the wrong altcoins at the wrong times, you can end up not only missing out on a lot of gains, but losing value as well. So moving on to what we talked about before about narratives and choosing certain things. So we know that AI and meme coins did well before. Now, if you're thinking, oh, you know, I want to have a diversified portfolio, have a little bit in everything. So maybe one token that's DeFi, one token that's layer one token that's layer two, one token that's meme coin, one token that's AI, etc. Go over to CoinMarketCap. And it's really useful website. You should already know it if you're in the crypto market, but go on to categories at the top. So cryptocurrencies, go into categories and you can actually look at all the different coins in different categories. Now, this used to be a lot smaller. It has absolutely exploded now. There's all sorts of different categories, and there's obviously a lot of overlap as well. But as I say, if you wanted to say, look at, let's go for AI. So let's go for name. Oh no, I was right first time. So, you know, AI and big data. So you go in there and take a look and you see near protocol, as we talked about. You've got things like Injective, that's done quite well recently. Internet Computer, ICP, Theta, Rose, etc. So it's then about going in, seeing what coins are in that category that you want to have exposure to, and then doing your research on those individual tokens as well, including what's their performance been over the past 6 months, or what was their performance like during that mini alt season we had at the beginning of the year. And that's how you choose a really strong asset, which should bring you plenty of returns when the mania starts. Now, speaking of mania, hype, and narratives, one narrative that is coming out and performing strong is Bitcoin runes. So they came out earlier in the year, got off to a really good start, then slumped during the summer, but now they're making a big comeback. Lots of people talking about them on X. And as I said before, even if you don't agree with, you know, what the project is, or, you know, if you don't like meme coins or etc., it's not about that. It's about making money. And if this is where the money's going, then you probably want to jump on board rather than being left behind. There's nothing worse than seeing something you absolutely hate go up loads of percentages and thinking, well, if I'd have just swallowed, you know, my pride or whatever it was, then I could have made some money on it. So Bitcoin runes is that. At the moment, you can see price over the last 30 days, a few of them have done big percentages, but you can look at the market cap and they're still very, very small. There's still a bit of a skill gap at the moment when it comes to people buying runes, because it's from your own wallet, it's on chain, on the Bitcoin chain, and you have to buy lots as opposed to swapping like you do on Uniswap. Or they're not on very many exchanges at all. They're not on tier 1 exchanges. A few of them are on a few tier 2 exchanges, but there's not that much access to them at the moment. So again, not financial advice, but these look like they could be the next big thing and could spark a bit of an explosion. Now, if you want more info on runes, Ash Market Mobster has done a video on his own channel, so go check that out. But a word of warning, just be very careful with what you're buying on here. If we go to the price over the last 30 days, and if we go from the worst to the top, you can see that a lot of these do end up being a rug pull. So just be very careful. A lot of them are like remakes or scams of actual runes. So popular runes that have been slightly renamed, very similar to like a phishing website where they change one digit to make you buy the wrong one or click on the wrong one. But the best way to avoid that is, of course, go on to holders. Make sure that it's got a high amount of holders, as you can see, like with these, or market cap or volume, etc., and you should be fine. Now, as I say, this could be the next big thing. And if we just take a look at this tweet or this graphic here, so top 3 meme coins by market share, you can see, so this is the Solana meme coin. So I know this is Dog Whiff Hat. I don't know what the two on the right are, but they take up 7.5%, just under 7.5% of Sol's market cap. If we take a look in the middle, the Ethereum meme coin, so this one I know it's like a bit of a pub quiz. So you've got Pepe in the middle, you got Shib, and is it Shib Inu, I think is the other one, but they take up 5% of Ethereum's market cap. And then if we take a look at the Bitcoin runes, so you've got Dog, you've got $billion Cat, I'm not sure what the middle one is, but their top 3 meme coins only take up 0.06% of Bitcoin's market cap. So you can imagine if these 3 take up anywhere near the same amount of percentage of Bitcoin's market cap as the Ethereum meme coins and Sol meme coins take up of their respective chains market caps, you could see these absolutely explode. And the other cool thing about runes is that you're buying it with Bitcoin, so you're actually growing your Bitcoin as opposed to growing your USD, which brings me on to the number one asset that I think everyone should be holding either at the moment, but going into the potential mania that we're going to see in the final 6, 9, 12 months of this bull market. It is, of course, Bitcoin itself. A lot of people sleep on it. And there's this really good tweet from the Flow Horse, or Horse as he's known as, used to be called Cantor & Clark. Very good follow, by the way, on Twitter or X. I suggest you follow him. But he put out this tweet, I think it was either yesterday or today, and it says, the irony that people are bullish on the crypto market, expecting Bitcoin to lead the charge as the first mover, yet they hold no exposure to Bitcoin itself. This is probably why when Bitcoin stalls at 80k briefly, it probably doesn't pull back, alts nuke, and you panic buy higher. And the problem that we've seen, particularly in this cycle already, is that people go for the altcoins and completely ignore Bitcoin because they want the multiples. Of course, Bitcoin isn't as cheap as it used to be. Back when Bitcoin was sub 10k or even around 10, 20k, you used to think, well, once we get to 100k, that's some pretty good multiples. At the moment, you're looking at it and you're going, it's, 60, 70k, it needs to get to 120, 140k for me to just to double my money, whereas I can buy an altcoin and that will give me 10, 20x. The problem is the market is very saturated with altcoins, and it's about having to pick the right one. So it's a bit of a casino, a bit of a gamble, whereas Bitcoin, it's the number one cryptocurrency asset for a reason. It's got real world use case. It's a very safe blockchain, and it's got that first mover advantage. It's completely decentralized. There's no owner, there's no team that are taking money out of it, etc. So don't sleep on Bitcoin. Now, if you think that it's too expensive or you're not going to get those multiples, there are other ways of getting Bitcoin exposure. And I talked about it in my tax video the other day, and that is the Bitcoin mining companies. So for full transparency, I do hold some of these in my own ISA, but you can go to this website, companiesmarketcap.com, check out all of the Bitcoin mining companies, and these should do very well if Bitcoin does well, because of course their whole revenue system is they mine Bitcoin, they then sell it onto the market, and they make a profit. And their only expenditure really is the mining equipment, and of course staff wages and stuff. So as we've seen with gold, precious metal miners, when the underlying asset itself does well, the beta assets do extremely well. So again, not financial advice and not a guarantee. Maybe they don't do as well, but we have seen in previous cycles that Bitcoin mining companies have followed Bitcoin very well. And finally, just a quick little tip. If you are in the UK, as I've talked about before, get yourself a stocks and shares ISA if you do want to invest in these Bitcoin mining companies, because any profits you make in a stocks and shares ISA are tax-free, including anything like dividends or interest payments, etc. So I use Trading 212, very user-friendly, very easy to use, and as I say, you can get most of, if not all of these Bitcoin mining stocks on that Trading 212 platform. So let me know in the comments below what your strategy going into the final phase of this bull market is. What altcoins are you choosing? What percentage are you in Bitcoin compared to altcoins? Are you going to move that at certain points? And what price targets have you got for Bitcoin? Hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.